morning. I'm Pete Najarian. This is the take on this Thursday morning. Wow. Yesterday, was it hump day or was it yo-yo day? Absolutely incredible movement in the markets. We started off the day basically flat on the Dow and the NASDAQ. Before you know it, we're down about 100 points apiece on each of those two major indices. And then you get towards the Fed comes around, and what people heard, they certainly did like, because it was a turn and burn sort of a moment for the Dow. The Dow completely flipped, and before you knew it, by the time we got to the close, up 380 points, about a 1% move for the Dow. NASDAQ even more so. The NASDAQ absolutely just ripped to the upside. That finished the day up about 320, 330 points, about a 2% move to the upside. What was really fueling that? Well, technology, semiconductors. We'll get into that in just a second. How about the volumes yesterday? Not that that would be unexpected, but a nice return from volumes yesterday in the derivatives markets, just beneath about 44 million contracts. Matter of fact, 43.7 million contracts trading yesterday. Leadership, of course, Apple, 2.7 million contracts for Apple yesterday. Had about a million contracts for Tesla, but I want to include these, even though they're not the million contract club, but NVIDIA, about 900,000, and AMD, sticking with semiconductors, about 720,000. Very, very active, as folks were getting very excited about the move and what that really meant going forward. So a lot of movement, a lot of different sectors. We'll cover that. How about the fact that the volatility index had this range from 19 to 23.5? Big, huge, wide range. And we sold off and essentially closed very, very close to those lows by the time you get to that with the volatility index. Crude, been a fairly tight move of late, although call it 69 to 71.5, somewhere in that sort of a range. Fairly tight, but I'll tell you, crude just gets a little bit less interesting each and every day until we see something fairly major, hanging right around that 71 level. So you look at that, you look at the 10-year right around 146, that stood out. But when you look at technology, a run of about 2.7% to the upside. That's a pretty massive jump in one single day. Apple leading the charge, that was up about 3%. You look over at Facebook, up 2.5%. Amazon, another monster, up about 2.5%. You get the idea. Throw in Cisco, throw in whatever you want. Seemed like yesterday it was going to the upside. Semiconductors is what really stood out. Now that was up about 4% yesterday. You go through that list. NVIDIA up 7.5%. I got AMD up about 8%. ASML up about 5%. Qualcomm, NXPI, Marvell, Avago, which is Broadcom, all of those names with a nice solid move to the upside yesterday for those semis, obviously with the 4% move, a lot of participation on that move. So some of the strengths yesterday, into that strength as we move. How about Eli Lilly? Now that really did stand out. They talked about a lot of different things. It started off strong, finished strong. It was up about 10% yesterday, followed by Pfizer, which actually followed up with about a 6% move. I mentioned Cisco, throw in Intel, throw in Salesforce, all of those having a great day. What wasn't having a great day yesterday, some of those Chinese names, once again, PDD, Trip.com, JD, NetEase, all of those getting hit. Along with those, now, it's another day, so another day, that means Peloton going lower. Peloton was down a couple of percent. Nucor down significantly, about 8.5%. You get the idea, a lot of selling as well. But the majority of what we were seeing was buy, and a lot of that in the semiconductors and obviously technology absolutely ripping to the upside. But many of the sectors had a really, really nice day. So you get a post-Fed, everybody gets to kind of catch their breath. Although we started off in the pre-market, you look at the Dow, up well over 300 points in the pre-market. We're up about 100 points in the NASDAQ. That immediately slipped with the NASDAQ. It slipped and almost caught in half by the opening. Matter of fact, we cut the Dow in half about the opening too, up about 160 points. But we've been holding pretty solid with the Dow. The Dow's been above 100 for the most part for the entire day. And then in the last 15, 20 minutes or so, we actually regained and got ourselves back up around that 200 level. On the other side of things, however, the NASDAQ has not been able to fully turn. It looks like it's in the process of trying to turn. We'll see. We're only an hour deep into the day, but that was down about 70 points. So the big jumps today started off the day was energy. It was up less than 1%. Last I looked, it was very close to about 2%. Financials were already up about 1%. They were moving to the upside. Materials as well. Technology started off flat, then they started to sell. Semiconductors also started off about flat, then they sold. It was down about 1.5%. So a little bit of profit taking maybe after that monster move. Although, as I say, we're starting to see the NASDAQ start to creep up just a little bit. We'll see if that can continue. Volatility, well, it's down again, trading somewhere between, call it the high 18s and the low 19s, low to mid 19s, somewhere in that range. It's been moving all over the place already this morning as we've kicked things off. Crude, again, right around that 71, maybe a little bit more than 71, 10-year. That did slip a little bit. 141 was the last I saw, but we'll see. It's been in that interesting range. Obviously, hearing from Powell and a lot of the digestion of what the Fed had to say yesterday really still starting to sink in for a lot of different people. I'll tell you, there were some major movers already in this first hour of trade, though. Take a look at Accenture. That's up about 7% today on a monster move. Nucor rallying after yesterday's selling pressure, that actually rallying back just a little bit. Generac, all these storms, a lot of the different things going on in the world, including right here where I am in Minnesota right now. We had 90-mile-an-hour winds. We got snow coming down right now. We had a 55-degree day. Today's high is going to be about 24. Get the idea. A lot of pressure on a lot of different things. Generac's one of those names that oftentimes does react to that. Then you look at AT&T having a pretty nice day. Some of these old guard names, IBM having a pretty good day, up about 2.25%. Amgen with a nice pop, up about 5%. You get the idea. However, not everything is rosy. Adobe down about 8% today, not looking so great right now. Xilinx getting hit a little bit. Lennar last night, those numbers, they had a couple of misses, a little bit of a disappointment. That stock getting taken out to the woodshed just a little bit by about a 5% move to the downside. But I look at NVIDIA after that monstrous day yesterday. That was one of the names that had a little bit of pressure on it early, down about 3.5%. Throw in Apple, throw in AMD, you get the idea. Some of that monstrous move that came from yesterday, a little bit of a pullback today. We'll see if that continues or if they can turn it around and start moving to the upside the way we're seeing out of the Dow right now. I got too unusual and we're out of here. So we don't talk about gold a whole heck of a lot. We haven't had reason to talk about gold a heck of a lot of late. We haven't seen a lot of option paper in there, but we are seeing a little bit today. Not a huge amount, but a little bit today. Kinross Gold, that stood out for us. It was trading right around, call it $5.30 a share. 6,400 of the January 28th expiring, so going all the way out to the last Friday in January for expiration here. The 6 calls. So it's just got to make a move somewhere between where now and then, a move towards that 6 number, or depending on how accelerated that is, these could start to move. Those are going for about 14 to 16 cents on those options. Fairly inexpensive, but they're going to have to make a move. Now, cannabis, looking at Tilray. That's a stock trading somewhere just above 8. It was trading about 8.35 at the time of this trade. I saw it start to pull back a little bit, but it's somewhere near that $8 range. 4,900 of the December 23rd expiring. So obviously a week plus today and Friday. You get a little bit of time for this to work. 8.5 strike calls. As I say, stock trading somewhere below 8.5, somewhere closer to 8.30 or maybe even a little bit lower than that. 4,900 of these calls, 22 cents. Up to about 37 cents. We'll see if Tilray, the cannabis maker, is going to be able to get this thing to get up and move to the upside. We'll be watching that one closely as well. 2 in areas where we haven't seen in a while, one with gold, one with the cannabis, but it's interesting to see that as well. And all of a sudden, we started off very, very slow. Unusual options today. Maybe a lot of digestion of yesterday and that monstrous move and all the volumes, but it's starting to pick up and accelerate as we've got into the day. The first half hour, maybe only 3 unusual option activities. We've added at least 4 or 5 to that as well. So we're starting to see a little bit more pickup. I'm sure that's going to accelerate as we get deeper into today. Folks, have a great day of trading. We'll see you tomorrow.